we know Tank Davis has got a good punch.
Tank's got to win.
He hasn't got a huge knockout percentage.
If he does win, it is a Shakur Stevenson next, isn't it?
I think Lomachenko and him would really be like a chess match. It'd be really interesting to see.
Is he the best lightweight out there? Yes, I would say.
That's why I would say he's more dangerous than Shakur for this.
Tank might go in there, like you say, thinking this is going to be a walkover.
I think Tank in the 8th.
Frank Martin will win by KO in round 1.
Welcome back to BoxCast. Today we're going to be previewing the fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Frank Martin for the WBA Super World Lightweight Championship, which is going to be held in the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Interesting fight, isn't it, Simon? Welcome again.
Is it an interesting fight?
We hope so. We hope it's a good fight. I'll do the tailored tape first and then we can get into it, isn't it? So, Tank Davis is 29, Frank Martin is 29. Tank Davis is 5'6" tall, 168 centimeters. Frank Martin is slightly taller, 5'8" which is 173 centimeters. Reach-wise, they're pretty similar in that Tank Davis has got a slight advantage. He's 68.9 inches, which is 175 centimeters. And Frank Martin is 68.1, 173 centimeters. They're both southpaws. Tank Davis's record is 29 and for 29 fights, 29 wins, 27 of them by KO. That's for 93% KO record percentage. And Frank Martin is 18 for 0. So 18 fights, 18 wins, 12 by KO. And so it's a 67%. They're usually pretty much on the money for the weight. So I think Frank Martin's last fight was 135 pounds, 36 kilos? And Tank Davis was 134.5, so 60.9, but near enough on the weight limit. And this is the lightweight. And it's going to be on Prime pay-per-view in the States, and we'll see what it is elsewhere. So, yeah, your thoughts? It's an interesting fight. Well, maybe not for you. I think Tank Davis is the favourite, I should say, as well. So, I think
massive obviously.
But you're still fighting an unbeaten fighter. And I think if you look at the resumes, Tank Davis is, slightly better. But he has sort of taken a long time. It's ridiculously better. Yeah. But he has sort of taken a long time to get there because he's not as much of a spring chicken as he used to be. But he does have some, he's got Ryan Garcia, Hector Luis Garcia, Rolando Romero, Isaac Cruz, Mario Barrios, Leo Santa Cruz, Yuriakis Gamboa, Nunez, Ricardo Nunez, Hugo Ruiz, blah, blah, blah. All right, the other one's more build-up, but that's still a hell of... The last fights are all pretty... Yeah, and he's won all of them.
Yeah.
Although Isaac Cruz is a bit contestable, to Isaac Cruz. Although I think they knew he lost, but he wants his sort of rematch. And I think most of the others, and Ryan Garcia's, there's obviously the weight clause, but again, he still won. So
destroyed him.
I don't have. And then Frank Martin's is a little bit less because it's, people you probably don't know as well. Well, I definitely don't know as well. So you got Artem Harutyunian. I hope I said that correctly. Mikel Rivera, Jackson Marinez, Romero Duno, Ryan Kiksweski. I definitely said that wrong.
Definitely.
We'll correct that in post. Jerry Perez, Tyrone. Yeah, basically people we don't know so well. So even though he's unbeaten, they're not. This is easily his biggest fight for Frank Martin.
Oh, this is I mean, I think Frank Martin, he was offered the Shakur Stevens fight last year, but turned it down. So I heard.
Okay. Well, equally that would have been this Shakur, Gervonta. You've got Barinchik and Lomachenko are the people at this division at the moment.
But Tank WBA super champion, isn't he?
He's WBA, so he's defending his WBA title in this contest.
I mean, I think a lot of people are I'd say happy about it. I think they wanted a bigger name than Frank Martin. No disrespect to Frank Martin. I just think after the big, and it was a big win against Ryan Garcia, big name. You know, did a million pay-per-view buys, 22 million pound gate receipts. It was a huge event.
Well, both of them big, aren't they? Because I was looking on here.
And then to go to Frank Martin, is Frank Martin is mandatory or?
Probably.
But I mean, I'll be dead honest with you. I've never seen Frank Martin fight.
I haven't either.
And looking on YouTube,
I've seen a few little bits of clips, but
looking on YouTube, it's very, very small hole shows he's been in. But he looks half decent. Mm-hmm. Quite flashy, fast hands. Puts his punches together well. But I hate to say this. I think this is a massive mismatch. I think he's cannon fodder, Martin. I really, really do. You know,
he's a WBA ranked second, isn't he? So that's why I think it's been made. So maybe just for the reason of that, he has to fight him.
Yeah, but I just don't think it's a. I don't think it's a good.
I mean, that'd be a huge shock because I mean, with boxing,
it's like it'd be massive
if Frank Martin beats him, and it's a huge,
yeah,
scalp for him.
He's got an 18-0 record, but
it's 1-6 for Tank Davis and 4-1 on Frank Martin.
You see, I might even throw a tenner on Frank Martin.
Yeah, it's worth it just so that.
The only thing, you could say Tank might get complacent. Frank Martin's got Derek James in his corner, he's a bloody good trainer.
Well, James Martin's on his way up, isn't it? Well, he's coming up, so he hasn't had, even though they're the same age, he's only had 18 fights opposed to 29. Which at 29 is a little bit worrying that it's only 18 fights and nobody really. So this is a step up for him. But you never know because, he is highly rated. And like you said, he's got a good trainer. So, you never know with these things.
Yeah, I mean, are we...
And like we said, we haven't really watched him. So we don't know in a full fight how he does what it is.
Really, I've never seen him.
But again, unless he's tested, you don't know. So, this is a test, real test.
Do they know something that, a lot of people don't know? This guy's the real deal. He could be. If he goes out there and
beats Tank Davis, that's a huge statement. He's a player in the division, and he's going to be a world champion.
Rip the book
and then he's up with the likes of Shakur and then Loma and Berenchik in this division. There's a lot to play for in this division.
He's got nothing to lose.
Yeah,
because a lot of people, like I say, I don't think a lot of people have heard of him. No disrespect to him, I feel like I'm proper putting him down, but.
Southpaw as well tricky, but you're fighting a southpaw, so it's not as big advantage. I mean, he's got a little bit of height advantage, but the reach is on Tank Davis' side, so it's not that really. So it's really more on the skill, and we know Tank Davis has got a good punch. He hasn't got a huge knockout percentage. It's about 67, did I say before? As opposed to 23. 93.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think
Tank's
knocked out everyone but two of his opponents.
It was just Isaac Cruz, isn't it? I think. And I'll find the other one while you're talking. I'm probably somebody in the early days, maybe, who he isn't.
I think Tank's got to put on a show, to be fair, though. Yeah,
it's an opportunity to build up for one of the, because it's on a pay-per-view in the US. Amazon pay-per-view, so you've got to sell the tickets again. Obviously, he is a well followed. I think he's like the 4th or 5th best followed boxer.
Is it
on this? Where I'm reading some info from. So that's their most searched, 4th or 5th most searched boxer.
I was having to think about this the other day, and do you think? Look how well British boxing is doing in Saudi. They're putting on some mega events, great fight. Do you think the likes of Queensbury, things like that, Matchroom, do you think these promoters are going, we're getting left behind here, we need our top boys to be fighting, and they've just picked Frank Martin dead quick just to get their top boys out?
I think Yeah, they need to. You've moaned about this more than even I, but I've moaned about it. But they need to stay active.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be like one fight a year. You should be like at least 3 or 4. And we've sort of favoured a few who do keep active. So I mean, I think it's an active thing. Plus, I think he's like the mandatory for WBA. So it's not just a
I get it being active and things like that.
I think it's a warm up for the next.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking,
and that's being unkind. But it's not just a throwaway warm up. It's somebody who could be dangerous and, like we said, could cause.
It's on Prime, isn't it?
So it should be. He's no mug, Martin. He's
he's
a
no
highly
mug.
rated fighter. You're just up against one of the pound for pound top 10, isn't it? So it
is on Prime.
Yeah,
and they're fairly new to the boxing, so are they just getting their top boys out?
Well, if you look at the card, the next video we're going to do is with Benavidez and Gvozdyk again. So it's not like, where you used to get these cards without anybody on.
Yeah. So maybe, there's two.
It's a build-up of a pay-per-view
Okay,
event.
so they've got 2 elite fighters against half-decent opponents, let's say. I just think that's what their aim was.
No, Gvozdyk was world champion until he got better behaved. So, and like, that's no shame if you get better BF is better BF. Yeah. So Gvozdyk was a world champion. He's out the same stable as he's one of my. I used to watch him. He was my favorite light heavyweight until better BF steamrolled him. But it was a close fight, innit? Gvozdyk was doing good in the boxing. Just better BF is more. He's just power. He's ruthless, and he just wore him down.
So
but it took him a long
Tank Martin's the headline for the bill, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I say, I just get the feeling that I think the American promoters.
But if you look at the thing, there's some more. Obviously, others we don't know so well, but there's still. It's trying to, like, I think you get what you're saying is it's trying to catch up. So there's a good undercard on there. So there's at least, because Benavidez, Gvozdyk would be in. Gvozdyk hasn't fought he's only had one fight in about 2 years since he got beaten. But still, like I said, world champion at heavyweight. There's the 3 of them were the best. Him, Bivol, and Beterbiev. And Benavidez is stepping up. Yeah. So it's a good card. But like, get back to Davis and Martin. Yeah, we'll find out, isn't it? When we see.
I think if
it's heavily favoured in Davis. You would expect him to win. And then I think he's on social media. People have said, when you're going to fight Loma, and he's like, let me deal with Martin first, then we'll talk about that. And then there's obviously Shakur in the same division, and now Barinchik as well, who beat Navarrete. So there's a lot of big fights there.
Tank's got to win.
Yeah.
And then I think if he does win, it is a Shakur Stevenson next, isn't it? Or a Loma. Loma's IBF champion now, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, I think Loma's sort of saying, because he's getting towards the end of his career, that there's not going to be many. I've seen a post today which saying, I think it was Teddy Atlas or somebody was saying, they need to get these. It's like Benavidez, Canelo. They need to get it done. You need to get it done while Loma's still there, because that's the man.
The thing is,
division.
I'm just looking at the lightweight rankings now. It's not as stacked as it used to be, is it?
Well, a lot of them jumped up in weight, isn't it? So the super lightweight is
got Willie Cepeda, Lomachenko, Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson. They're the main 4, I'd say. Other than that, there's no massive superstars, I'd say, on there that you'd throw in the mix, other than them 4.
Yep, but there's enough there, I think, to be making.
So I think that Tank's got to go out, win this, and then he's Shakur Stevenson or Loma after this. But
because there was like Isaac Cruz and then Ryan Garcia and people in it, Tiafimo, Devin Haney, and they've sort of moved up to the division in it.
Like it was such a stacked division.
But most of these have come into it afterwards, isn't it? So you've got like, it's, they followed up, but there's other people in the lower that are saying may come up, isn't it? So from Super Feather, although I'm not sure any of them would be raised that up.
O'Shaki Foster maybe, but no, I just don't see. I just see this as
there's room there for people to unify, and basically there's enough fights there to unify and to take it to. And maybe undisputed, isn't it? I think that's Lomachenko's obviously aim. Tank would probably be Shakur, and probably Barinchik. He's unbeaten as well. Shakur's unbeaten. Gervonta's unbeaten. Obviously, Lomachenko has his. We won't go into that. My opinion of his defeat, but you know,
I mean, well, I think, like you say, Frank Martin, he could make a massive name for himself even if he loses. If he gives Tank Davis a really, really good fight.
Well, yeah, because everybody expects him to lose against him. But if you give a good fight, you're back. You're in that mix with other people. You could have fights with the others.
A loss these days isn't the end of the world.
If you lose to an exceptional fighter, elite fighter, like,
and if you lose well,
if you make a good, we've said it. We've said it in some of our reviews. With even though they've lost, they've given a really good representation themselves and done. Munguia versus Canelo, and people like that in the division. So
it didn't harm. It hasn't harmed their career.
Yeah.
And I think
there's still a good boxer still in the mix. Obviously, you're against somebody who's uber elite.
Yeah, Frank Martin, he can make a name for himself even with a loss. Yeah. I mean, if he wins, wow, he's won the lottery, hasn't he? But if he causes Tank a load of trouble, makes the fight really competitive. It could be really, really good for him. And I think Derek James will go in with a good game plan for him.
You would expect so. If they've seen enough of him and they'll have a plan, how well it works, we'll find out, and how well he can execute it. But you would expect him to have a good plan.
Tank might go in there, like you say, thinking this is going to be a walkover.
He's got to be professional, and in this game, you've got to be professional. You're not against the mug.
But sometimes
they don't. Yeah, we've seen that people do.
A little bit of complacency, and look what happens.
Are you trying to give Frank Martin some hope?
Yeah, because they just dished him for the first 10 minutes badly.
You need to give him something. There's William Zepeda as well.
Yeah.
In that 30-0, isn't he? He's unbeaten. Raymond Muratalla. Navarrete as well, who had it was a close fight with Brinchik. Frank Martin's like the number 8th ranked on here. We've got their list. Keyshawn Davis, although he's only started, he needs to build up a bit, but he is quite good.
I think he's with Eddie Hearn, isn't he? Keyshawn Davis. Yeah. He'll get some mega fights soon.
Yeah. So there are other people. A few more coming up.
Yeah, but like I say, they're not that.
Our favourite Kambosos.
No, he's done. Although Kambosos,
he would still give some of them a good fight. I mean,
for the likes of Keyshawn Davis and stuff moving up,
that's a fight for them.
Yeah, he's and
maybe even for depending on what happens with this, Frank Martin would be a good fight there. Keyshawn Davis, any of those coming up.
I think we pretty much wrote off Kambosos, didn't we, last time, saying he should retire and that was it, he's finished. But no, he's kind of like a little gatekeeper, and he's in that middle rank.
He's a tough fighter, so you're not going to beat him easily. You're going to have something, but then it is like a good,
test.
Are you in the mix or not? Because he's the gatekeeper for that.
So he could.
So
yeah, but Tank's just a bit of a different animal, isn't he?
Yeah, there's about 4 or 5 of them that are elite. Obviously, from ours, we would say Shakur, Tank, and Loma are the 3. Really, really. But then you'd have to think Berinchik is unbeaten and of that Ukrainian school. So he beat Navarrete, who was one of the other ones.
So go back to when.
And then Zepeda is the other really highly rated
when it was like
one.
The elite lightweights when they were all down there. I think I would have said Devon was the best, and then Tank Davis.
Well, you know who I rated the best of that division, Loma. But obviously age is there with him. I think in his prime he beats all of them. Is he at his prime because of age? Not so much that he hasn't got the skills, but obviously training, and they train hard, takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
And you're not getting younger. It's harder to recover and do all those things.
But Tank's got that equaliser punch as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's why I would say he's more dangerous than Shakur for this. Shakur's got the skill, and I think Lomachenko and him would really be like a chess match. It'd be really interesting to see. And I'd love to watch it, but I think Tank's always got that thing in it.
He's got the power, and Tank.
He's got really good defense, and he's got the power.
Is he the best lightweight out there? Yes, I would say.
Well, I think if he gets through this test, then we'd like to find out.
I mean, because
probably Stevenson, Lomachenko,
he destroyed Ryan
Brinchik.
Garcia, didn't he?
Yeah.
I know people saying, "Oh, the weight." Right, if we're going to talk about weight, Ryan Garcia, how heavy was he when he went in his last fight?
Not as heavy as his opponent.
Sure up.
No, Garcia's a fantastic fighter, but like, yeah.
Tank just destroyed him, didn't he?
Tank is a level. Yeah, they're the elites. I would put them 3 in. And like I said, Brinchik is probably the next. Brinchik and Zepeda. And Navarrete and Brinchik was quite close, but Brinchik's pulled it out. And then Navarrete is a good fighter. So
I think we're both agreed. We're not giving Martin a chance, are we, sadly?
But we're talking about all the others. So if he wins, like, we're just going to... This is just so we can put some money on him and have a...
And do you know what? If he wins, I love an underdog story. I just think...
Well, the problem is we haven't seen enough of him. Like I said, I've only seen a little bit.
No,
of clips.
genuinely
to
haven't.
See, like to beat Shakur, to beat Tank Davis, I think you need to be like a Shakur or a Loma or somebody
but that
of
could
this
be
level, really
This
elite.
could be like the
but it could be his, because he hasn't had the chance to fight them.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's not a lot of...
There's always a chance.
Yeah, there's not a lot of YouTube on him.
Yeah.
So maybe Tank and them don't know exactly what they're getting with him either. Like I say, the clips I've watched of him, fast hands, good footwork, puts his punches together well.
And a little bit more than that, I think, as well. And he's got a good coach.
Yeah.
And they're going to be... He doesn't look like he misses training, and he looks in good shape.
He looks in superb
what
shape.
I've seen of him.
And
he's at a good age. He's... it's just that, like I said, you haven't faced anybody like a Tank.
No, you haven't, but I suppose you've got to, haven't you?
You've got to step up. So, yeah.
Go for it, big man. Let's...
predictions? I think it's hard to see past Tank Davis, isn't it?
Frank Martin.
KO or points?
Frank Martin will win by KO in round 1. After the Roman...
Simon is not feeling that well. So.
I think... I want it to go 12 rounds and it be a competitive fight for Frank Martin, and he comes out with some credibility. But I think Tank will stop him in the 4th.
I'm going to give him a bit more. I think Tank in the 8th.
I'll go Tank 4th.
Yeah, write mine down.
We're writing these down now because we keep forgetting.
Tank 4th and Nurmals is Tank in the 8th KO. I give Frank a bit more credit. Although I would like to see it go, because it's nice to see some rounds when you're watching it and you're paying for the fight.
Yeah,
it's nice to see a bit more.
I think if Tank has done everything properly, I think he...
Yeah, and then we want to see him fight one of the other...
Although we don't know.
Whichever one, whoever
this Frank Martin might have a chin made of granite. You just don't know, do you? Sometimes these little surprise boxes, you end up going, oh my God, where's he been hiding?
Yeah. I'd love to see it. It'd be fantastic.
We love shocks.
Yeah, we love somebody to...
All right, so I think
that's that for that one, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's on Prime.
It's Amazon Prime. It's June the 15th on
Is
the
it pay-per-view, Amazon Prime?
And it's Amazon Prime pay-per-view. Probably not in the UK, it won't be, but we'll see. I don't know how Amazon Prime works, because the last one was on something else.
Yeah.
Here. But yeah. I mean, obviously, on that, it's going to be Tank Davis's numbers, and it's the numbers he's done with Ryan Garcia, isn't it?
And
he's had a couple of fights where he's done decent numbers.
I think that's why he's been signed. Like, he was signed, and wasn't it? It was a bit of a
he's
court case over it, wasn't there, or something? Anyway, that's nothing to do with
Well, I think that's why they've got him to promote. Like you said, they're new to this game, and they're promoting out him. So... and they've got another good video on the undercard, which is going to be our next video. So, yeah, we will see you in that one. Like, subscribe, comment, and let us know what you think as well. Are we sort of, being wrong for writing off Mr. Martin?
There's definitely some Martin fans out there that are going to rip us.
Yeah, but like we said, I think you'd be more unkind than me, just so I put it out there. I give them 8 rounds. Okay, see you in the next one. Thank you very much for listening and watching.